purpose of the Beis Hamikdash is that it should be revealed in the physical world. In our world down here, we should have a place where we can connect Hashem, where we can serve Hashem. That's something that can't be just anywhere. That's something that has to be exactly according to the way Hashem decides it. Spirituality also has to be exactly the way Hashem decides it, but once it's spiritual, it doesn't necessarily have an exact and precise place in the physical sense. Whereas when it's something where we're talking about the physical concept of elevating the physical world in itself, that's something that needs to have the exact precision in our physical dimensions of time and space, in the physical dimensions of where it is, and exactly in its physical dimensions. So that's the idea of the Mizbeach, and that's also why the Mizbeach of the Mishkan was copper. All the other, in the Beis Hamikdash, the Mizbeach was made out of stone. Making it out of stone shows on the idea of revealing godliness in the most inanimate, in the lowest place that there is. At the same time, also the concept of copper, we know that copper, there's three precious metals that were used in the Mishkan and the Beis Hamikdash. Zahav, Kesef, and Nechoshes. Zahav, gold, is the acronym of Zeh HaNoisin, body, which means healthy, good. That's the idea of a person who's a tzaddik, who does everything the way they should do it. Kesef, silver, is Kisheroya Sakonas Pachad. That's someone who's not complete in their service of Hashem, but yet there is a fear that they may go wrong, but it's only a fear. Nechoshes is copper, that's Nesinas Choylesh Amartnu. That's when a sick person who says, give meaning someone who's already not in the right place. Also, Nechoshes comes from the word Nachash. Nachash is the snake. That's the first snake. That's the idea of the Yitzhahara, of Klippa, of the whole concept of things that are opposing godliness. Nechoshes also is from the word Nechusha, meaning strong, toughness. All of this shows on the negativity of the world itself, and that also works with the Mizbeach, that on the Mizbeach was brought for the sinner to bring to bring his carbon in order to be forgiven for his sins. Let's look at the dimensions of the Mizbeach, and we'll perhaps understand also a little bit of something regarding the Mizbeach itself based on its dimensions. So the first thing that we know about the Mizbeach, it's on the outside. Okay, let's look at again. We began this, but let's look quickly again at the Mizbeach of the Mishkan, the Mizbeach of the that was in the Mishkan in the desert. The entire Mizbeach, the height of the entire Mizbeach is 10 ames high. Now, 10 ames high means we're talking about in an amma. Let's look even at a tefach. A tefach has a handbreadth. A handbreadth is about 8 centimeters. A regular amma outside of the Beis Hamikdash is 5 handbreadths, 5 tvachim, meaning a regular amma is about 40 centimeters, whereas an amma in the Beis Hamikdash is about 48 centimeters. So when we're talking about the height of the Mizbeach, not all of the ammas in the Mizbeach were full 8 centimeter, full 48 centimeters. Some of them were 40 centimeters. There was actually 2 amas in the height of the Mizbeach that were only 40 centimeters. But you have 480, that's minus the 16, so you have 464 centimeters, about 4 meters, about a bit more than 4.5 meters. That's the height of the Mizbeach. Now, this height of the Mizbeach is starting from, this was equal in all of the Mizbeachs, except for perhaps the third Beis Hamikdash. There's some opinions that it's going to be actually 11 amas high. But the Mishkan, the first Beis Hamikdash, the second Beis Hamikdash, they were all 10 amas high. The height of the Mizbeach was the same. Now let's go from bottom, let's go upwards in the Mizbeach, but let's start with the way it is in the Mizbeach of the Mishkan as we did yesterday, and then we can repeat the exercise and see how it is in the Mizbeach of the Beis Hamikdash and how it changes. the bottom part, and that's something which is an essential this part is side of the
Hi everyone, sorry about the little issues, but Rabbi Wagner seems to have internet issues at the moment. He's getting reconnected now.
Okay, sorry about that. That was just the Wi-Fi. So let's go back to the dimensions of the Mizbeach. We'll try and do what we can in this. Okay, so back to the dimensions of the Mizbeach of the copper Mizbeach in the Mishkan. So again, the bottom part is the Yesod. Then we have from the Yesod, from above the Yesod until the middle, along the middle, there is what's called in the Beis Hamikdash the Soivev, meaning it goes around it. You see how it goes around? That's what we call it, the Soivev. And in the Torah, in the Mishkan, calls it the Karkev. Karkev is it's for decorational purposes only in the Mishkan, that it sticks out, it protrudes over here. Now the entire width and length is, like we said, 5 ames by 5 ames, half of its height. By the time you get to the top, this whole thing is 9 ames above this part. So this is 1 amma, this Yesod part. This part is 8 ames until the kranes that protrude an amma. This is 8 ames of height. Halfway in between is where the netting is, the copper netting, and it's over here that we have an amma by an amma on the corners. So if you take away the square 1 amma on the corner, so you're left with 3 amas by 3 amas. You take away another square where the kohanim would walk, you're left with 1 amma. That's where the fires were lit. That's in the Mishkan. The Beis Hamikdash was similar, but a lot bigger, and was built of stone. Let's go first and see just the picture how it is in the Beis Hamikdash. The stone Mizbeach, the Yesod, as you can see, it protrudes from all sides, all around, 1 amma height, 1 amma, just like the Mizbeach of the Mishkan, with one difference, which we'll see in a moment. But let's go higher than that. Above the Yesod, 4 ames above the Yesod, they had a red painted line, because some of the blood had to be sprinkled on the top half of the Mizbeach, some of it had to be sprinkled on the bottom half. Then there was the ledge of the Soivev. Now, unlike the Mishkan, in the Beis Hamikdash, the Kohanim actually walked along this ledge of the Soivev, and therefore from the ramp of the Mizbeach, there was also a ramp leading up to the Soivev. And the 4 corners. Here you can see within the 4 corners, there's the walkway for the Kohanim. Inside it was where they lit the fires. Now the length and width in the first Beis Hamikdash was 24 ames by 24 ames. Go up, you lose 2 from the Yesod, you lose 2 from the Soivev, you lose 2 from the protruding kranes, you lose 2 from where the kohanim walk around, and you have altogether 20. This was 28 by 28 on the bottom, so on the top it's 20 by 20. 2, 2, 2, and 2, so that's 20 by 20. That's where they lit the fires. Now, this Yesod, so again, the Mizbeach in the Beis Hamikdash was built of stone, only stone. What they would do is they would put this stone inside a wooden mold. They would put because you weren't allowed to use metal on the iron on the Mizbeach. So they would have a wooden mold, and they would put all these stones in the form of the Mizbeach. They would throw plaster in there also, and this way it would all be one piece of the Mizbeach altogether. That's how they built it right there in the courtyard in the Azara. Now let's look at the measurements and look at something very interesting. First of all, let's just see the measurements over here. This is actually a drawing based on a drawing that the Rambam himself made. Here you have the Yesod. The Soivev goes up till 1 amma above the middle where the red line was, and then another 3 amas from the Soivev till the top. This is called the fire area. And the actual area of the fires is 24 amas in the second Beis Hamikdash. We'll see that tomorrow about the second Beis Hamikdash. But first, let's just mention one more thing. The Yesod in the Beis Hamikdash was not like the Yesod in the Mishkan. If you look at the picture here, you can see there's no Yesod over here. because the side of the Beis Hamikdash went around the entire west side, which we can't see at the moment. That's the side closest to Heichal. The entire north side, which is the up across from the ramp. The east side, which is across from the Heichal. That's the front when you're walking towards the Heichal. You come to the Mizbeach from the east. That side didn't have a Yesod besides for one Amma, and neither did the south side. The corners, the northeast corner had a Yesod, and the southwest corner had a Yesod. The rest didn't. And the reason for this was a very interesting thing. The entire Mizbeach had to be built in the portion of Binyamin. The Beis Hamikdash, the entire Beis Hamikdash was in the portion of Yehuda. Besides for the area of the Mizbeach, which was in the portion of the Binyamin. Along this side, along the east side of the Mizbeach, and along the south side of the Mizbeach was one Amma, an entire strip of an Amma by an Amma, which was still part of the portion of Yehuda, and therefore they couldn't build the Mizbeach there. Tomorrow, please God, we'll go a little bit further. We missed some of the time now, so we're going to have to continue a little bit about the Mizbeach to understand why, in the spiritual sense, why actually was it able to be the Mizbeach in the portion of Binyamin, not in the portion of Yehuda, despite the fact that the rest of the Mizbeach was in the portion of Yehuda. Let's just go on one more thing quickly, and that is the Mizbeach of the second Beis Hamikdash. They added 4 Amis. 4 Amis on two sides. They added 4 Amis. They added 4 Amis on the south, and 4 Amis on the west, and 4 Amis on the north. So they added 4 Amis extra on the west and 4 Amis on the north. They made like an L. So now instead of 28 by 28, it's now 32 by 32, the bottom. By the time you got up to the top, that's 2 Amis here for the side, because it's one on each side. 2 Amis here for the side of indentation, that's 1 on each side, that's 4, and 2 Amis for the keren. That's another, because of 1 Amma on each side, and 2 Amis for the square walkway of the keren, that's 24 Amis instead of 20 by 20. You had the area of the fires was 24 by 24. And one of the reasons they did this was because in the first Beis Hamikdash, the kranos, these horns as they called them, that protruded on top, where one of them, the northeast horn, was the one that they had to pour the wine, or in Sukkot also the water. In the first Beis Hamikdash, when they poured it, the kranos were closed, they were solid. They were totally solid, and therefore when you poured the wine, it splashed over it, and it would splash to a pit, which was on the floor next to the Mizbeach, and from there it would go under the ground. In the second Beis Hamikdash, they said that just as the karbanis, the eating when the Mizbeach eats, so to speak, which means the karbanis when they're consumed on the Mizbeach itself, also the drinking of the Mizbeach, which means consumption of the wine, has to be into the Mizbeach itself, and therefore they made these kranos, they made them hollow, and in this one there were 2 holes in which they would pour the wine, and the wine would actually go down in the keren until the bottom, where under the Mizbeach there was an area known as the shis. The shis, according to the Gemara, went till the very depth of the earth. So now instead of it going through the pit on the side of the Mizbeach, it went through the keren. But in order to do this, because the shis was in the first Beis Hamikdash, it was over here, it was under the side. It was under the foundation of the Mizbeach. In the second Beis Hamikdash, if they wanted the keren to be reaching the area of the shis, they had to make it 4 Amis wider, and then they were able to now pour the wine into the Mizbeach itself. So please God, tomorrow we'll go a little bit further into the Mizbeach, and then we can continue also with the Menorah.